Welcome to National Pleasure, the place for all your Nick Cage needs. Hi, I'm your host Doug Mellard, and I'm here to help you learn about the world around you through the lens of Nicolas Cage. That's right, buckle up because it's going to get weird. Now, this episode, we are going to discuss the time that Nicolas Cage bought an octopus. That's right. Now, some episodes are going to have rather lengthy details behind what the meat of the story is. Some Nick Cage stories are intricate and winding, but there are also plenty of stories out there with very few details. Basically, Nick Cage urban legends. This one is one of those. This is all we know. A 1986 Los Angeles Times profile of a 22-year-old Cage revealed that he has an affinity for marine animals. He owned a baby pet octopus and 2 large aquariums filled with sea creatures. There's a rumor that he once bought an octopus for $150,000 to help with his acting. Apparently, it was a very unique octopus that he named Cool. Now, while we are unclear of how the octopus actually helped with his acting career, it's probably most likely it was just an excuse for tax write-off purposes. When challenged on his spending habits by the New York Times in 2019, Cage said, "You're not going to go into dire straits buying an octopus." Cage also told the LA Times that he found it restful to watch the baby octopus swimming around in its tank, which I get that. You ever seen a tank filled with jellyfish? It's so cool. I have seen a couple interviews where he mentions owning an octopus at one point, but as far as I know, this is really all the info we have on the subject. Now, how do you think the octopus helped with his acting career? I really don't see how it could, but, and this could be a big stretch, I'm just trying to get in the mind of Nick Cage here, which that's a thing that no one can actually really do. There's no more beautiful mind, am I right? Maybe it was something like to mimic movements. This, again, big stretch here. Like, maybe he wanted to be more fluid physically. And some octopi can adapt to their environment, so maybe he just wanted to take that with him? I mean, Nick Cage does really adapt to his environment as far as characters. I'm really going out on a weird Cage limb here. What do you think? It's all I can think of. Or do you think the octopus was actually a straight up legit acting coach? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it wore a beret and preached its teachings. And maybe it was really hard on him, like that jazz teacher in Whiplash, portrayed by J.K. Simmons. I could see that happening in Nick Cage's household. Just an octopus floating around a tank with a little beret, and Nick Cage is sweating as he's taking in his education from the octopus. Or do you think it was all just in his head like the iguanas in Bad Lieutenant 2, Port of Call, New Orleans? Maybe there never was an octopus. Man, what a fascinating guy. The fact that we can ask all these questions, it's just so much mystique for one person. All right, Nick Cage brought us to octopi, so let's learn a little bit more about the world of octopi. Here are a few crazy octopi facts. Number 1, octopus arms have a mind of their own. That is wild. About 2/3 of an octopus's neurons are actually located in its arms. This means the arms can taste, touch, and even act on their own accord without input from the brain. So while an octopus concentrates on hunting, its arms are moving it forward, testing the water and ocean floor, probing coral crevices, and maybe even prying open a clam already caught. Like, this is all going on simultaneously. That's insane. Fact number 2, they have 3 hearts. Good Lord. Octopuses have not 1, not 2, but 3 hearts. 2 of them pump blood to its gills, and a 3rd heart keeps circulation flowing to the organs. This 3rd heart stops every time the octopus is swimming, which may explain why they prefer to crawl. What? Their heart stops every time they swim? That seems unnerving. And that's why they crawl. Wow. Oh, Nick Cage's wonderful mind is teaching us so much today. All right, fact number 3. They're smart enough to use tools. This is fascinating. It used to be thought that only vertebrates were smart enough to use objects as tools. Not so. Some octopuses have been observed hoarding 2 halves of a coconut shell, which they carry around like a mobile home and assemble together when needed. aquarium staff probably aren't surprised. Octopuses in captivity regularly solve puzzles, open jars, navigate obstacle courses, and even find cheeky ways to escape their tanks. Oh my God, that's crazy. Fact number 4, they sometimes build underwater cities. Holy cow. It was populated by a species called the gloomy octopus, which was previously thought to be solitary. The scientists witnessed complex social behaviors occurring in the population of 15 octopuses who were living together, communicating, and even evicting each other from dens. It was the second such city found in the area after a first, Octopus, was discovered in 2009. They're evicting each other? They have landlords? There are octopus landlords out there, you guys. That is fantastic. All right, fact number 5, weird defense tactics. Imagine you're an octopus under attack. If your camouflage skills are cutting it, you might want to detach one of your arms and let it crawl off on its own. The old decoy trick to distract the predator. What? They just let their arm go so they can, I guess it's kind of what lizards do. Octopuses can actually do this and, as you know, grow the arm back later. They can also use their ink as a defense. Sprayed into water, the ink reduces a predator's vision and sense of smell. Wow, there you have it. That's pretty wild. Imagine if you're being attacked and you're just like, I don't need this arm. Boop, it goes away. That would freak anybody out. Anybody trying to attack you. I'm sure you'd get out of that. Now, here's a fun thing. Some of you probably know this, but did you know that some people actually believe that octopi are aliens? And after reading all this, I'm a believer, I think. Evidence of the role of extraterrestrial viruses in affecting terrestrial evolution has recently been plausibly implied in the gene and transcriptome sequencing of cephalopods, they explain in this one study. The genome of the octopus shows a staggering level of complexity with 33,000 protein-coding genes, more than is present in Homo sapiens. And here's the piece de resistance. The transformative genes leading from the consensus ancestral nautilus to the common cuttlefish, to squid, to the common octopus, are not easily to be found in any pre-existing life form. It is plausible, then, to suggest they seem to be borrowed from a far distant future in terms of terrestrial evolution, or more realistically, from the cosmos at large. They offer the possibility that today's octopuses are the descendants of creatures that arrived on Earth frozen in an icy comet. Whoa, this is like a science fiction novel. But it's on Earth, you guys. This is in our own backyard. Why the octopus in particular? Its large brain and sophisticated nervous system, camera-like eyes, flexible bodies, instantaneous camouflage via the ability to switch color and shape are just a few of the striking features that appear suddenly on the evolutionary scene. Wow, it's like they skipped many steps. This terrestrial evolution occurred thanks to cryopreserved squid and or octopus eggs that crashed into the ocean on comets several 100 million years ago. Wow, that is wild. I mean, this feels like an alien space invader attack movie. This is so crazy. And again, I mean, I don't know, reading all those facts I just gave you plus this, it makes sense to me. And I mean, look at them. Go watch a bunch of octopus videos and tell me they're not aliens. Come on. And now it's time for a Face Off 2 update. Now, again, I've mentioned this in the previous 2 episodes. If you haven't seen them, go give them a watch. But I'm going to give an update, whether there's an update or not. And this is this week's update. I'm just going to give you more tidbits out there on the internet about Face Off 2. Here's what I got. I believe this tidbit came from the director of Face Off 2, Adam Wingard. He said, "We're really honing in on the script. We're not going to share it until everybody's like, this is the one. I think we really got it. It has been probably the most challenging script we've ever worked on for a lot of reasons. There's so much pressure in wanting to make sure that it lives up to the legacy of that project. But every draft you have these things that just click in and you're like, aha, that's really what Face Off is," which that's an exciting quote. You can tell there's passion behind him. He wants to live up to the original Face Off. It seems like this is the guy to direct Face Off 2. So that's exciting. And now for my favorite segment, What is Nicolas Cage doing right now? What do I think he's doing right now? Now, this is always difficult to predict, but here is my best guess. I think Nicolas Cage right now is going toe-to-toe with his Turkish fencing instructor in a Superman costume in a plane as it continuously dives and comes back up so they can fence in zero gravity. His audience is 7 men named Daryl for no particular reason on this plane. That's what I think he's doing right now. Oh man, what do you think the odds of that are? 100%? Let's go with 100%. That visual, it's awesome. Nick Cage fencing in zero gravity with 7 guys named Daryl clapping to it. Yeah. I'll change my name to Daryl, get up on that plane. Let's do it, Nate. All right, guys, that's it for this week's episode. I hope you learned something about octopi, and I know you love talking about Nick Cage. Can't wait to see where Nick Cage takes us next. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that stuff.